Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Chroma Worlds live stream. So I'm your host for today. I'm co-hosting Davis and Maddie. Okay, and before we start, we're telling everyone our submission now is open until November 3rd, and all the free trials are available on our website. They are going away pretty quick, so make sure to go up there and claim them. And we are live stream regularly throughout the whole competition, and we do 2 times a week on Monday 7 p.m. Pacific time, and also Wednesday at noon Pacific time. And during all these live streams, we'll share updates and answer your questions, and we'll host conversations with our competition sponsors, such as Mago Studio for today, and also our community partners and awesome creatives in this AI space. And today we are excited to host two amazing guests. Let's welcome Mago Studio, Alvaro. Okay.
Hello, hi everyone.
Mhm. And it's an AI video style transfer platform. And then our second guest will be Henry. Hello, Henry. Welcome.
Thank
And
you.
at the same time, we're live streaming on YouTube, X, and Instagram and LinkedIn. So feel free to type in any questions you have on YouTube. We'll be able to see you and we'll be able to answer you. Okay, first, let's jump into with Mago Studio. Henry, I'm gonna put you in the background for now. All right, we'll talk to you later. Hello, Alvaro. Let's tell us a little bit about yourself and Mago Studio.
Hello, Davis. Hello, Maddie. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for hosting this today. So a bit about myself. So I'm Alvaro, the CEO and co-founder of Mago. I come from the VFX/animation/games industry. I've been in all three. So I come from production. I don't come from tech. And I've been working myself on style transfer for AI, style transfer for animation, and in AI rendering for a while now. I think 5 to 6 years. I got an Epic Games Mega Grant back in the days for that as well, and we started off Mago. I think I would say about a year and a half ago with my co-founder Alex Alexander Spirin, who is the creator of Warp Fusion. If anyone was into that type of stuff back in the days. Um, so we started Mago actually as because we met with Warp Fusion and we saw the potential of video to video, and we were really we really believed that there was a need for professional tools. We saw that people were able to make really cool things and music videos and such with that type of tech, and we thought, we have to take this to the next level. And my own angle was to say, okay, we need to provide something for professionals in the industry. So the idea was not to target, I would say, mainstream creators, because that was the angle of a lot of these tools. Creating something just think for social media, and now it's a lot of hype around marketing agents that you can automate. And for us, the idea was more so to build a tool for filmmakers and people of the industry, so that you can really go for that control and for that level of achievement that you would need for short films. But then, of course, the end goal and the idea is to go towards filmmaking, movies, series, and so on. So that's a bit about me, and if we have some time, I'll show you a bit of what Mago can do.
Yes, we definitely can do that. So if you bring up your screen.
Yes, of course. All right, so I can actually show you what we can have. And hi everyone, and hello everyone from the audience. I'm pretty sure I know a few of you out there. Okay, so this is Mago. As you can see here, this is what you have when you open the project. So you've got your project here. You've got your timeline here. It's a vertical timeline. It's a bit weird for people who are into video editing. It's because you iterate a lot, so it's more like a list. Much easier, makes it much easier to follow. So essentially what you can do with Mago is you create a project, you upload a video, such as this one. and then you're going to restyle it. The big thing with Mago, I mean, one of the things with Mago is that we are only focusing on style transfer and video transformation. We're only doing that. We believe that a lot of platforms are doing a lot of different things, and we strongly believe in this and just being very vertical and very deep and just doing one thing and going as deep as possible with that one single thing, which is video to video. So let's say you add your video. We have this race car right here. You can create a new track here. And then with your new track, the first step will be to stylize your first frame. We work a lot with first frame stylization. I think it gives you a lot of control, and also it allows you to iterate at a very low cost without rendering just a bunch of videos until you get lucky and you get what you need. So the idea is to really go into this level of control. So here I already did some tests. At the moment we have Context, Mago, Nano Banana. Very soon we'll have Seedream. And of course, Dreamina is part of the sponsors of the Chroma Awards. So you can already, I guess, access Seedream over there.
Yeah.
Um, so for example, if you were to, so the idea is to create the first frame here. Let's say, for example, you want to turn it into an anime. You can also launch it with context. You can choose the frame that you're rendering here, that you're sizing here. So let's go back to frame 0, and we can try and do something a bit cooler. Let's say we can turn it into a cyberpunk race car. Keep the original composition, purple color scheme.
Is there any way we can like zoom in and on the
Yeah,
screen?
like you mean on the image or on the screen itself?
The screen itself.
I don't have. I'm just sharing my tab, so I don't know if.
No
I
worries.
guess yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you can do that. This is what I did. For example, I just did this right now. So pretty cool as well. I already did some tests before. So for example, um, actually this one was pretty cool earlier, like with these these weird drones. I have no idea what this will do, but we can, for example, use this one, and then we can launch a render. So here you will have a auto prompt right here. If you don't like it, you can regenerate it, and then you can run a test. We have these two
Oh,
buttons here. One is for a test, and the other one is to generate
so
whatever frame
for,
rate you want based
for
on
the
this slider
for
right
the
here.
test, is it just kind of generate like a shorter frame, like from
Yes,
frame 0 to frame 48?
yes.
I see.
So the idea is that in our experience, video to video is a lot of trial and error. So in this case, this is why we really encourage people to first take a look at what you can achieve with your results, and then you can go for longer and longer renders. So that way you don't waste a lot of credits in compute
Mm,
in trying to, just rendering like 10 seconds and it doesn't work. You have to start from scratch.
I see.
For example, in this case, this is what I was working on. So, I go from this original car into this, and
Uh,
then I try to iterate, trying to see like, okay, how can we improve this? I'm not a
mm,
big fan of the background, so I changed the resolution for a higher resolution, and then I get the background and I get the rain. And you can really compare it with the initial one I was showing you earlier. So let's
uh,
say, for example, I go here. Let's go back to the beginning, and you can see the difference.
wow.
Um,
I do have one question when you
yes,
mentioned the first image generation. Like, do you
yes.
have to prompt like for the composition to be exactly the same in order to get a better result?
Not necessarily. You can get away with very minimalistic prompts. This is why, for example, our placeholder is turned into anime style, and
Yeah.
that usually just works. It just works.
Mhm.
With that being said, if you sometimes you'll get a result like this. For example, this one is not the exact composition,
Mm,
and then usually you can fix that by then just prompting keep the initial composition.
mm,
We also have multiple models. One model is the is one that we have with Mago.
Mhm.
where you can upload a style reference image. I think this one was achieved with that, so it's better for
Oh.
pure stylization. So let's say because one of the ways that you can use Mago in this type of contest is if you really want to, you're grabbing some stuff that comes from multiple sources. Let's say you're generating from multiple services, and you want everything to have the same
Look.
style, the same artistic
Ah.
direction, and so you render everything in the same style. And you can also take some of your videos and change them without sort of reprompting them as a whole. You want to, let's say, change the character, change the background, change some elements. So it's more so of a tool that integrates in a broader workflow
Hmm.
rather than a one-stop shop platform.
I see.
Um, and yeah, so for example, here you have a lot of different examples of what you can achieve with Mago. This is the one that I used for these tests right here. And then, for example, what's cool also is also you're able to take a look at your control maps, which can be super useful to understand why the model is behaving in a specific way. So for example, let's go here. I can go to the depth. I can go to the side-by-side view or slider view, and I can try and understand like why is it behaving a certain way. So I can see,
Hmm.
okay, it gets the smoke, it gets the structure here, and this is why it's going that way. And you can also compare it with other results, and you can also see the difference in settings
Hmm.
here. Um, I see a question if you have a view almost suitable, some elements, can you use to change the specific? Yes, actually, you can do that with image to image. So for example, if you use Nano by Nano or Seedream, you can ask it to remove this, for example, and then you can reprocess the video. One thing I will say that's a bit different sometimes from other services is that we're not optimizing, so we're exposing a lot of settings. You can see this right here. Settings are pretty complete. So you've got your prompt and uh, um, first frame reference. You've got your control nets, and then you got a bunch of settings that are in the advanced tab right here. Generally speaking, we like to give more freedom and more power over more speed and more, let's say, simplification, right? So we really want something that is powerful, like easy to learn, hard to master type of deal. Um, and yeah, I have some other examples. Like for example, if you will have a character and
Hmm.
something that I really would like people to explore and really like to see is people using live action to create content that wouldn't be possible with live action. So for example, you can go from this character right here to this right here.
Wow.
And then, for example, this is why there's iterative aspect. Here, the character closes her eyes, and I don't get it here in the final result. So typically, it's the type of thing that I will just go back and I will prompt. She closes her eyes at this in this prompt here, and then it will add it add that motion. So you can also drive the video. You can sort of make sure that you're driving the video through motion as well. And here, similarly, if we want to create a new frame, like you can see all of these. This is an example that was done with the Mago model. So it's like a painting.
Hmm.
So it was taking a painting as a reference, and these are all like watercolor stuff. But you can also do something like turn her into a let's say cyberpunk Android uh, green color scheme. Uh, Behind her, a science lab. She is unsheathing a katana. And then you can, let's say we want to do this on frame 35 maybe, and then you generate this, and you will get that additional frame. It's been, tell me please, Davis, whenever I need to stop
Oh
and
yeah,
move on.
sure, sure. Don't worry. Yeah.
Don't hesitate. But yeah, for example, here we got this one. So Yeah, typically this time around it didn't keep the composition.
Hmm.
So I would say keep the original pose or composition, and I would try again.
So,
Um,
so just curious, like if
yeah.
the first image, the composition isn't exactly the same, and if you hit generate to the video, like is it going to look very different?
So there is some level of, let's say, there is some level of tolerance. So it doesn't have to be the exact same first frame.
Hmm.
However, the more different it is, the more chances it has to fail.
I see.
So if it's wildly different, it will not work.
Hmm.
If it's pretty close, so for example, this one is pretty close, so I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
that this one will, I mean, I'm sure that this one will work. So for example, you can click use this. You get this sort of prompt here. I can remove a lot of it because I don't like it. Let's say just Android. And then you go back to the first frame and we run a test. And you can see here on this side all these renders, and really oftentimes it's really useful to be able to like check your renders and being able to see like this all the projects that I was all the renders I was doing today. And you can check directly a render from a specific project. In this case, we can take a look maybe at what we just made. Hold on, it's not. Oops. Oh, no, it's fine. Actually, so we can take a look. This work. Oh, it worked. So that was pretty fun.
Drones.
So it added the drones and it's following the drones. Um, and yeah, so I would say at the moment, if you really want to use this as a render, I would say it focus more on stylization. We are working on the ability to use so on character consistency, so injecting a character so you can preserve same character over time. But for example, let's say you already have your short film with your characters and so on, you can still just process it through Mago and process it to Mago and be able to get a sketch type look or a painting. And in fact, this whole project for me was all because I was back in the days trying to make content that was stylized like paintings and so on. And I was looking at the budgets, and it was just my early career was just killing projects and my projects being killed because you needed 500,000 to do anything, which I didn't have, and most people don't. Hopefully, with this type of tech, now you don't need 500,000 anymore.
Yeah, and
Wow.
really echoing how awesome it is to have those features, like seeing the render times, like definitely you can see the design of somebody who has struggled through the VFX process and wants to make something great for artists.
Great. Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much. In case if anyone who has any questions, would be happy to answer them. We are, for in the context of the Chroma Awards, we're giving out a beginner plan to everyone who joins. We're in closed beta. We're behind the waitlist, but for the Chroma Awards, you can skip the waitlist. So if you join the Chroma Awards, you directly get access to Mago. You're all directly whitelisted, and you get already a beginner plan to get you started.
Wow, that's really awesome. Now, Chad, do you hear it? Please just go onto our website and check it out. Yeah, and I want to say, like our one of our friends, director Eves, he was using one of the Mago Studio kind of to make his film Empu, and the style it's just like what you showed us is really consistent and it's awesome. Like the hand drawing, that's something really cool. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I think this is the type of thing that we want to explore also with Mago, just like Eve and their crew did on Anpu, being able to explore different aesthetics so that
Hmm.
you're not stuck, with just anime or cyberpunk.
Hmm.
Contrary to what I just did,
Hmm.
you can explore anything any aesthetic that you want. I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it really powerful.
So I'm kind of just asking for the chat. Like you said, like the anime, that's kind of the basic style we're talking about. Is there any like example that you can show us they are really unique looking art style?
So for example, if I was looking, I mean, there are a lot of, so I have a few examples right here. Let's see, on this one, I was working on, for example, lip sync, and because one use case that's super interesting is for music videos. So of course you've got your classic cyberpunk robot singer. Of course, you've got your classic anime, but it's super interesting to be able to explore something that's a bit more,
Yeah.
maybe a bit more strange, a bit more weird.
I think I
Uh,
saw a little Sailor Moon up there.
yes, yes, there was some Sailor Moon going as well, some more like traditional VFX character replacements,
Mm.
and some, some illustrations, some 2D work, some watercolors
Uh-huh.
as well. I think this is the type of stuff that we would really like to see as well, because that's the whole point, is that you can start working with whatever you want. You can start, you don't have to stick to real life. To me, the fact that you see so much content that is based on real life is more so, let's say it's because is what we have by default, right? It's the thing that's most accessible, but I don't think it's necessarily the most interesting. I do think that you can really stand out, even though you can make some pretty cool stuff as well with realistic content. Um, so flipping the script, everyone knows this, guys. For example, I'm pretty sure. Uh, but here, yeah, for example, you got a real life Naruto that you create from a dancer, and then you can turn that guy into a bear, into a banana here, but or you can turn the guy into a bear. And I would say, generally speaking, it's about having fun, about having fun
Oh
and
wow.
creating stuff that is a bit more out there than what you usually see.
Yeah, can you play this a little bit more? Play the bear one a little bit more? I just want to say that, like, it's really consistent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was really fun.
Even the fur. Oh my.
Yeah, 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 that was really fun. That was really fun. If you want to make something really absurd. So what I really love about video to video as well is that you can drive it very naturally, right? This is why for me video to video and cell transfer are such favorites, and this is why they work real well with 3D animation or live action. If you want the ultimate level of control, it's this. Let's say I want to do a dance like this. Well, I can just do the dance, and if I don't like the dance, I don't have to like just prompt for hours to try and get the right movements. I can just do it again and film myself. The same
Yeah.
for 3D scenes. I don't like
Mm.
the placement of something. I can just go back to my Unreal Engine scene, for example, and move the mountain a little bit, and I get full control that way. So our philosophy of control is not just through the AI and the models themselves, it's also through the whole workflow and the whole process. And yeah, so this is why, if you got a bear, maybe I would love to see this in the hands of people who like will act the bear, in their bedroom.
Oh yeah.
And then you can see the behind the scenes footage, and you can be like, oh, you were the bear all along. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to try it because like a few months ago, I kind of used cardboard to make like a alien outfit for myself, like the clouds and the head. I will definitely try this and
Yeah, that would be
make
so
myself
cool.
an alien. Yeah,
I would love to see it for sure.
definitely. Yes. So, is there any other cool feature that you can share with us? Want to
So at the
show us?
moment, yeah. So I mean, there are some very classic things like you've got your relaxed mode, which is sort of like an unlimited mode. For the beginner plan, it's capped at 100 frames. For the pro plan, it's capped at 200. But the like for like all unlimited modes, it's designed so you can just keep on working. Um, with that being said, one thing that's pretty cool about Mago is that as you can see here, you can render very long. You can do very long renders. You can go up to 2,000 frames. So, for
2,000
example,
frames.
this bear is 500 frames, so it's more than 10 seconds. It's actually 20 seconds. 20 seconds of a bear dancing. Um, of course, I would say it's more of an edge case. I would argue most of the time don't uh, don't try to like just put all of your shots and render them in one go. But if you want, you can. Or if you have like let's say something that doesn't have any cuts, you can. So that's something also that we want to do with Mago, is give you more freedom. Your render will be much longer. We don't do as much hand holding or optimization as other
Mm.
players in this field. But the philosophy is really, if you want to do it, you can. If you want to do a 2000 frames render, you can. And then the comparison features I think are pretty cool. Here you can say, you can check the pose, for example, and you can compare it with the original one. And this is also a way to catch glitches. Why is the character doing this? Why
Mm.
is it behaving in a specific way? Why is it so? For example, if you got the banana character, you can see, let's say, for example, uh, I mean, this one has actually the same. They all have the pose setting, but
Mhm.
this allows you to also see, like, okay, why is something doing something different? And the idea is you can iterate very quickly. We have some shortcuts. So let's say, for example, if I go back to this lady right here, I show her, let's say, for example, I think I have some latency internet issues. Okay, no, it's fine. So this was the result. So I was able to do it.
Mm.
But let's say I want to iterate, so I can duplicate it. So basically, for example, this Shift S, you can hide it, you can show it. It's really designed to work really quickly. And then if you want to duplicate this, Shift D, it creates a new track, and you can just change some settings, and already you are working. And then you play this around, and then you can just click around. You can scrub through frames as well to try and see, like, when is it breaking, when is it working the most, and so on. And yeah, there are many more things that I can mention, that I can show. For example, if you have this, so someone was asking, export to Blender, post a character to a character. Yeah, you can do that as well. The very hacky thing, but you can download your video here, but you can also just click here, and you can right click and save this video.
Yeah,
And very hacky way, we should expose it somehow, but you can also just get the
Mhm.
data like this very manually.
I think like there is also an overall question of can you bring in your own character, something you've designed,
Yes,
modeled,
so at the moment you could do this with the Mago model, but we are actively working. So this is some of the big features that we are going to launch soon. The first one is character into consistency, so that you can bring in your own character and use it across multiple shots. We're trying to first tackle this at the image to image level, so that you can inject it in an image with the best level of control. And the second one is we want to revamp the frame stylization, because we think that it's really important for driving the video, and having it as a standalone inside of Mago, where you can, because Nano Banana and Seedream, for example, Seedream is great for that. Like, you can really do something first. Let's say change the hair color, and then you want to change the clothes, and then you want to use maybe another model to do another change, and so on. And iteratively, you end up with the perfect frame without having to prompt it, from the get-go. Similarly, we're also working on being able to do multiple passes within Mago. So let's say I like this one, but I want to change something. At the moment, it's again this clunky way of, you download it, you can re-upload it as a project, and you can reprocess it. But we want to allow you to do that within Mago, and encourage this type of very iterative workflow that is more controllable, and is not as brute force as saying, like, in one go you want everything to change: the character, the colors, the background, the motion, and so on, which is a way of working that's very prone to errors.
Mm. Got you. All right. So now we have two questions, and we are going to wrap up with you soon. So one question is, do you have like besides input, do you have any other examples like how Margot Studio was being used for the other creative
Y-
projects?
Yeah, we have a few projects in the works right now. We're being reached out by studios who want to work specifically on these topics. There was cool project recently that was a short film from Brazil on natives. I'm not sure I can share the name because I think it's being
Oh,
sent to
yeah,
festivals right now.
yeah. So,
But um, but it was a very interesting project where um, the filmmaker was able to film live action footage and made an animated film thanks to that. So with an aesthetic that's close to anime, like a sort of illustration aesthetic, and he used Mago to render everything, so that instead of just having a regular live action film, he was able to get something that's really unique and stands out. And these are definitely the type of use case that we're really interested in.
yeah. So does he only use live action footage or also combine with maybe AI generated or even 3D footage?
So in his case, he was using live action only, but that's also the idea is that you can combine a lot of different elements. For example, you could very well use a 3D background that you can control, and you green screen yourself on top of that, and you can just transform and work with you. You can also generate footage in other platforms and use that as well. So that's also been a topic for me. I think now you have a lot of tools to create a lot of things in different areas, and you can also use manual tools and traditional tools, so to speak. If you put them together, it's just weird.
Yeah.
So the idea is that Mago as a final rendering pass works very well. And yeah, Kone, I think, was asking for VFX for music videos. I don't think I have much more time here, but we are planning on doing a webinar next week for anyone who wants to use Mago for the Chroma Awards. And you can actually see the QR code to register right here. So it should be on Tuesday. And yeah, we'll be very happy to go through any use case that might be interesting. And if you have like a specific need for the Chroma Awards, I think we should be able to cover it and help you with whatever you need and your specific needs. We also have a Discord, and we have put up a channel for the Chroma Awards in Discord. On our side, we really believe in this type of initiative. We really do think that that's what the community needs, and I do think that that's why you see this type of event being put together, because to us the topic is that we know that we can make cool videos that are like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You post them on X or LinkedIn and everyone goes nuts. But to us, that's not really the end game, and that's not really what makes or breaks these type of tools. It's whether you can actually take them into production with music videos, series, short films, and then longer projects. And that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of time. So this is a great project. This is a great environment to try and work that out.
Yes, so if everyone want to join the webinar, please scan the QR code right now and find out Mago Studio to connect. All right, and thank you, Alvaro, for being here with us today. It's an honor to see you presenting these new techniques and sharing with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right,
See ya. Bye-bye.
bye-bye. And next, we are going to bring up our next guest, Henry. Okay.
Hey,
Hello, Henry.
how are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm busy, but good.
Okay.
Me.
All right. Do you want to do a little introduction or should I play your Google I/O video instead?
I can give you just in a few words. So my name is Henry. I am, you can hear my French-speaking accent. I'm from Belgium, living in the US for the last few years. I've been in the digital industry for like 2 decades, and then the last 4 years spent a lot of time leveraging AI to do pretty much anything which was possible on with the tooling on the market. And then the last 9 months, I think a lot of my life did change professionally as I got a lot more into filmmaking using AI. And so since early September, I'm now resident filmmaker at Google Lab, which is the first time Google hires for that role. And so my job is to create content, create films with the highest possible quality within the Google environment and around, and hopefully help the team build even better tooling with the Flow, which is their AI solution. So that's the half-lengthy answer.
And so you're also working on Google Flow, right? That's what.
Yes. It's not exclusive, which is pretty great. I think Google knows that their environment is moving forward and is growing. But I'm still heavily leveraging VO2 tree and Nano Banana for what I'm building right now.
Okay, we're exciting to see. All right, so we're going to show a video that Henry made. We're just going to play like maybe 3 minutes of it. I'll give you 1 sec.
Yeah, it's really funny. We have a lot of French connections. We
Yes.
had Margot and we had Eve and Julian. So it's interesting to see like where the global hubs are when it comes to AI creation.
I think I'm running little technical issues. I cannot press share right now. So give me 1 sec. Maddie, would you be able to continue? I'm gonna reopen it.
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone has not seen Henry's work, Kitsune from Project Odyssey was really fantastic. I think won the narrative category. And Electric Pink, which you also did with Google, was my favorite of those three. Is really beautiful story. And honestly, I didn't realize that wasn't your voice. Like I thought that was your voice.
It's actually isn't. Like I did generate that voice, but I wanted to have something which feels right. So when I started working on the film, I wanted to feel authentic and to give a point of view which is accurate. But then I didn't really see myself be physically present in the film. That would be weird. And so I used this character which I created a few years ago as a vector, and the voice. And so I spent quite some time actually trying to figure out which voice would be perfect. So it's AI generated. The point of that is that I was still modifying the script until the very end. So every time I was modifying something, I could go back and just regenerate and then rerun it.
Oh
All
wow.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I personally connected with it, so I had no idea that that was an AI generated voice. That's so interesting. I just assumed it was
It
you.
was
Okay, now I got the screen ready. I'm gonna share it. All right, and I'm gonna hide us for now.
This stupid face? Yep, it's mine. And you're even lucky enough to catch me fighting my imposter syndrome in slow motion. You know, for the extra dose of drama. Because these days, I'm also apparently a filmmaker. Thanks to the advance of technology, but also thanks to my parents who prepared me for this moment. I miss you guys. Wait, aren't we going a little ahead of ourselves? Maybe. Let me go back to the beginning. So, that's me again. Tiny human covered in stuff. As I grew up, my parents always encouraged creativity. Obviously drawing, but also painting. But to be honest, I think I landed somewhere between toddler with finger paints and accident at a paint factory. Books. So many books. Zero dates. Coincidence? Well, probably not. But also regular kid stuff. I mean, at least for most of it. But the real education? Well, our extensive collection of VHS tapes, of course. They amassed hours of stories and, inexplicably, 3 hours of 1980s television adverts. It certainly explains some things. For me, stories were magic keys, unlocking doors to fantastic worlds hidden just beyond reality and significantly more interesting than, let's say, Tuesday. I wasn't just me anymore. I was a hero, a wizard. I was anything. But today hits differently, and the careless days of my childhood are long gone. Why am I about to get smashed by my own insecurities, you ask? Well, to start with, I always struggle between bright, vibrant colors and bleak, sad, and rainy universes. It is choice paralysis, too many options, and it seems to be linked to our creativity, which is actually located here and also there. So, what if this endless journey through each and every single one of my inner worlds ends up, well, absolutely nowhere? But also, what if I am actually defeated by these intrusive and exhausting thoughts? It's like being trapped in your own head. Am I a filmmaker? What do I know after all? You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. Stop this nonsense. What would mom and dad think of you? What are you even doing? Just quit already. I'm so tired. And that's when it clicked. It never has been about the perfect path. It is all about embracing the uncertainty and exploring every corner of our own identity. Create your very own world. This wasn't just a project. It was a quest. Taking everything I loved, everything I learned, and making something new. You just need to start, to experiment, to embrace it all. And that brings me back. I hope one day kids feel that same spark. The spark my parents ignited in me. If they were here, I know.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there. And if you want to watch the full film, later we can give you guys a link so you can find Henry's YouTube channel and watch some of his works. And I really love Kitsune. It was also like a winner for Project Odyssey, season 2, I believe. It's such a great film. I encourage you guys to give it a look. Okay, coming back. Give me one sec. All right, Henry, for what we just saw, do you have something to share with us? Like, I just want to say, like, the character, it was so consistent. Oh, even in the different art styles, you keep every like the hair, everything. Like, how did you achieve that? That is so cool.
So a few things. So when I got this opportunity from Google to work on the film for the I/O, what was cool is that they gave me full freedom. Obviously, you know, I wasn't going to go in a direction which wouldn't be safe for such an event, but I wanted to talk about how it feels to suddenly be in this position where you can create film, whereas you know, some people don't get that direction in their life, right? Like you go to college and then you take a direction, and then, you know, like thanks to AI these days, I have the feeling that some people who thought they would be doing X, Y, or Z, or like took a career at some point and then, you know, kept pushing for years, have this chance to reconnect with some of their creativity. Like they have a chance to remove some of the hurdles of doing film, mainly, you know, cost and access to material and whatnot. So yeah, so I wanted to talk about that. Most of what is in the film is actually happened. Like both my parents died from cancer at different moments of their lives. So my mother 13 years ago, my dad 4 years ago now. And I know that they did always push me to do different things. I ended up in a creative path, which is already great. But I do believe that the culture I got being around them, growing up, and what I decided to look into growing up is shaping who I am as a person today and the films I want to create. And I think that's part of the power of AI, is that you can truly embrace who you are as a person. You can leave behind some of the technical aspects. Like, it's still complicated and there's still a lot of, hoops and loops to make things work, but it's not impossible. And so yeah, so I wanted to make kind of an homage to that. Regarding the character, so the process for this film was slightly different than Kitsune. Kitsune was mostly text to video, meaning because back then that was the only thing which was available on VO2, and VO2 felt like the right model to work on that. But so on Kitsune, I just, quote unquote, just prompted what I wanted to have, managed to find kind of a structure which was working for me so that I could both reread and stay consistent. And then I built things up that way. For Electric Pink, so as mentioned, I wanted to tell a personal story, but I didn't want to, represent myself like visually. That didn't make any sense to me. I don't think that was the right direction. But I was sitting on this character which I created like 4 years ago with the first AI tech I started to use back then. So it was a VQ GAN and Disco Diffusion and Jax Diffusion, which were used on those complicated collab notebooks. And so I put it back up. Felt like the right moment to put back that character. For the consistency, two things that are amazing is that the Google environment has amazing tools. One of them, which is still overlooked, I think, is Imagen. So Imagen, which is using Whisk. So if you use Whisk, you know that the model behind is Imagen, which is their image generation model. You have version 3 and version 4. 4 is fairly recent. Really, I prefer 3. This is on the version 3. What's great about it is that it's pretty amazing at enabling you to iterate. Like, you can, if you have a prompt and you change one word, it's not going to throw everything out. It's going to keep it similar, and it's just going to change that element. And so for this film, it was a lot of mix of so mixing Photoshop obviously and Imagen 3. So I would create kind of a base image Imagen 3, iterate until I get to a place which feels right, and go back to Photoshop to fix everything which is missing and which is off. I didn't want it to feel like an AI film. I don't think AI filmmaking should be a thing. Filmmaking should be a thing, and using AI is a totally different subject. It's just a matter of point of view, right? Like, I know some people think that AI filmmaking is a thing because also of the aesthetics you can create, or like it's kind of a weird twist. But to me, it's just creating a bigger gap between people doing film and this new wave of filmmakers. But bottom line is, I wanted to remove all those elements which felt off, which felt like, oh, that's a clear giveaway, that's AI. So for example, all the posters you can see in any bedroom in the part you've shown have been re-modified in Photoshop, reapplied, replaced. The books, same. Any object which didn't look like an actual object, because sometimes AI does its thing, were removed and replaced. So it was kind of a mix of different things, but consistency was still greatly due to Imagen 3 being great, and then Photoshop to help whatever was missing.
I see.
I would say that it's really cool to hear that you had created this character 4 years ago. Like, when I first saw the film, I went back through your work, and I definitely saw like the progression of your style and your character. And it's cool to see how, as the models advanced, like, you were able to go from just these still images and art pieces to full film with these characters you're developing.
No, yeah, definitely. That's what I like about it. Like, when I started 4 years ago, I mean, at that point, I've been professionally creating for like 2 decades, and then since, I mean, as soon as I could hold a crayon or pen or whatever, I always was drawing or painting and whatnot. So it's not, when you're using AI, you get also love and hate. So like, you constantly get negative feedbacks, and people saying, oh, you could just learn a trade or learn to draw, or like, really been there, done that. Not as in like it's not worth it. I think it's really worth, and I think what I'm doing with AI today is also reflecting of my path as a creative and everything I've learned before, which includes a lot of traditional skills. But 4 years ago, it's also opened a lot of new doors and a change in how I approach things. So just a side note, but today I was sending back a draft for an article I was writing on the topic, like, hey, what changed for creative? And something I did notice since I started using AI is that when you work in a traditional process, you get really attached to your ideas. Like it's an ego thing, right? Like you start working on a project, and then you have a couple of ideas, and it's really hard to let them go and be like, oh, you know what, it's not the right one, because you're blasting through time. It's personal, right? At some point, you're like, it's hard to say I was wrong when you're like too far down the road. And what I like with AI is that, to me, it fully switched my position from just being a creator to being a creator and a curator. And AI is going to give me a lot of options quickly, right? The fact that they're not mine yet, I'm just presented sometimes with just a panel of things, takes out the ego, takes out a lot of the things which is getting in the way of sometimes just deciding to kill an idea and move to the next one. And that's also why I think the last 4 years have been interesting and gave me that energy, is that I was presented sometimes with things which I wouldn't have done in the first place. And I thought they were visually interesting, or there were potential in that. And then it's up to you to still get the potential. It's still up to you to choose those ideas. It's up to you to fail. It's up to you to just choose something which wouldn't work out. And there's no excuse. You just chose it, right? Like, if you don't say, the AI made me do it. Like, you are consciously taking those decisions. So yeah. So I think bottom line is, like, everything evolved. I think my process evolved, but I think a lot of the philosophy also moving forward did evolve in the process.
Yes, like you said, so you can just create, and because it's so fast, you can just test and error thing. I think that's a great thing to have, that before we didn't have that.
It takes time still, right? Like, doing a film stick. I mean, it's a compression of everything, but if you really want to put the energy to make it properly, it takes a lot of time. But I think the initial phases and concepting and pre-production are a lot more interesting with that take around. Like, it's just a different way to operate.
And here I see the chat that do have some questions. I think it's good. Would you suggest using Whisk instead of using the version of Nano Banana accessible through Gemini?
Yeah, so I think it's a moving target. So I still like using Whisk. Sometimes I'm going to use something else, because Whisk is also tied to Imagen, of course, and then the model itself is doing its own thing. I think just a preference at some point. If you use Gemini, it's really more of a conversation. So you're going to be able to approach correcting as a back and forth. It's not like, oh, I have to nail that prompt because there's only one try. The current thing is that it might take a bit longer than if you're using the API of Nano Banana through a different service. So, for example, currently I'm mixing between using Gemini when things are a bit more like I need to just exchange and to discuss about it, to just using an external service, because I just want to put one prompt and it gets 4 outputs and then use those. Whisk is more of a global solution for imagery. As I also say, it's a moving target, because I know that the Google team keeps moving forward and the tooling is moving forward, and new features are coming in. So in 2 or 3 weeks, or like, I don't even know myself the deadlines, or at least not yet, but I can see Whisk moving forward and evolving and making those features easier to access moving forward.
So you would say, like, Whisk is how you can access sort of the latest in Imagen model?
I think Whisk is a good headquarter for everything which is image generation. I somehow expect this maybe to move to Flow at some point. I don't know exactly what the plan is, but it would make sense, because Flow is this kind of a new headquarters for anything Gen AI. But I don't think you get a better model. I think it's just a different way to implement. I mean, it's still in a banana. It's just the way you access it should be fitting what you're doing with it. Like, I know that I like currently to go on a platform like FreePic or something to use Nano Banana, because I know that I'm just going to use a prompt box and I'm going to get between 2 and 4 outputs. It's less of an evolving conversation, but I know that for the sake of productivity, sometimes it's just faster to have those all different inputs and then modify. And then, there's so many tricks like where you can draw with a color on an image and then ask to replace, you can ask to swap different assets. So I think it's up to you to make your own path depending on what you like using.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a personal choice, right? For each artist, whatever tool that gets them in the flow state of creating.
Yeah, I think each of us have a so different kind of workflow when we approach this. And right now, I think everyone just has different, and it all works. Yeah. And here I do have a question, because you have been working with like big brands such as Marvel, Coca-Cola, or New York Times. So how has generative AI influenced this creative process when working with them? Anything change for you?
So a lot of those collaborations happened over time. For some of them, I had no Gen AI available, so it was, as mentioned, a lot of traditional process. I would say that once we started having access to AI, I think it was just compressing some small pieces. So I know that the faster, cheaper is like a lose-lose situation, but it somehow is still what it is. Like business-wise, you're going to approach things differently and it's going to save you time. Now, everyone is going to say, oh, but that time you're saving is going to be allocated somewhere else. That's the nice narrative. I don't think this is how the business world is going to evolve. I think the time which is reduced is going to be transferred into profits because that's how it works. But so working with those brands, I think it's always been first, I mean, my experience working with major brands is that it doesn't guarantee a better project. Some of the best projects I've worked on in the past in this kind of different life were for clients who just gave full creative freedom, didn't have the big fancy name, but let you explore something which is different and edgy. So there's that. But now the last few years, for example, last year in January 2024, Coca-Cola reached out saying, hey, we would like to make a film, and we would like to use as many AI technologies as possible. Like, look at what's in the market. And it looks like, I mean, early 2024 sounds like yesterday, but actually it was a different world when it came to video. You had Runway, which was still doing this kind of a slow motion thingy, and that was pretty much it. And so I mean, obviously you had all the other models which we had to look into. And so back then I remember that that was the challenge. Like, how can you make a great film using what's in the market right now without it looking like an AI film? And so we built this kind of a custom pipeline in Comfy UI, which was using back then SDXL, I think, and Animate Diffusion, to transform a 2D input, which was a 2D animatic made by an animator, into this kind of 3D rendered result. And that workflow, I mean, still stands today. I think you would use different models and libraries, but I think approaching like this was totally new. And it's funny, I remember the animator was extremely new to all of that and was skeptical at the beginning, thinking like, how can you get to something final based on just sketches and a simple animatic? And I know by the end of the project, he was a lot more enthusiastic and I'm more excited about the possibilities because he saw kind of a new path for his work. So I think working with brands depends on who you're going to talk to and the particular project and whatever. I think it's more like, to me, I'm more excited about a project where you have kind of a creative freedom or like a very specific angle you try to bring on the table, and this is where I think tech should just disappear and should focus on having that good idea, which is going to make a difference. That film was a fun one. It was extremely under the radar, but still now, a year and a half down the road, I'm still pretty proud about that result we got.
I see. So I think we can fit in one last question before we wrapping up here. I see there's audience ask, which maybe 3 tools are you currently using mostly for your work?
I mean, these days it's a lot of VO, definitely. So VO3, sometimes the VO2, like newer model doesn't mean necessarily better. It just depends on what you're doing with it. I'm currently working on a film which is heavily using Nano Banana to create B-roll and different angles and retouch imagery. But the base of it is a mix of Imagen and Midjourney. I created a board in Midjourney, a mood board, which is using public domain imagery, like thing like painting some Van Gogh and whatever, but trying to create a unique aesthetic. So and I'm working on that film right now. It's taking me a ton of time. And then editing software. Like, I mean, when you're doing film, I think most of the time you're spending it's editing. I have this thing where I strongly believe that AI is a perfect tool not to get you not to wait until the end of your generations to edit, but halfway through I already make kind of a rough edit of everything I have to start feeling the story and then what should be fixed and whatever. So editing is really important. That's the third thing I'm doing right now the most.
True. Like editing comes earlier comparing like what we had before. Like when we
Much earlier.
Already like editing it.
Yeah. Percent.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Henry, for being with us here today. And earlier, I just put some of the links that you can find Henry's work and find his socials.
Probably. Is there anything else you want to share or that's coming up?
Yeah.
Coming up, I don't know I don't know when, but yeah, I'm working on this short film. I will start showing the social. It should be more like between 8 and 12 minutes, I think, and which is I mentioned cancer before, which is more of an allegory and a way to touch on that subject. So one thing I would share is like for anyone who's using those tools, is that just get started. Like I don't think there's a magic recipe. I don't think there's a magic tool. I think it's just a matter of like doing your own thing and spending enough time again and again and again to repeat the same gestures to get used to it.
Yeah, and keep learning even with new tools coming up. Just always keep learning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's really great to see what you've done, like all the information that you shared from Project Odyssey, what you did there, like continuing to be a part of this community and share everything that you've learned over the course of your career.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
of course. Thank you for having me.
And also, because you are being with us as a judge as well, right? So, is there any like specific things you're looking for when they're submitting a film? Like what kind of?
Yeah, I mean that's personal, right? I guess if you judge, we'll have a different answer. On my side, it's a lot more about finding a unique voice. I like people who are honest about who they are and their stories, and they're trying to just replicate whatever you found was cool. And I mean, found was cool is like, the public might like that. I think just tell stories which matter to you, and I think they will matter to someone else. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Okay, so here you can find our like streaming information, and we do have in-person meetups coming up, and we're also having events during LA Tech Week in Los Angeles. If you're not here, there will be also something in Tokyo, San Francisco, Paris, New York, etc. And you can find all of our updates on our socials. All right, so thank you everyone for being here with us. Maddie and Henry, really nice to see you up here. So remember to tune in next week. All right.
Bye.
Thank you.